Hello and welcome to the Deadly Messiah. I did promise I would do this, and now I have some time in which I can. I wrote some notes just to remind me of everything that I should be telling you. So, The Deadly Messiah was written by David Campbell and Albert Fay Hill. First published on January the 1st, 1976. It's 48 years old, same age as me. The copy I have, which is this one. I know it's showing it backwards, but hopefully when you see it, it'll be the right way around. And I put some bookmarks in because I'm going to be reading you a few bits. Anyway, the copy I have is from 1978. It's a first paperback edition published by Granada Publishings Limited in Panther Books of 1978. Made and printed in Great Britain by Richard Clay, the Chaucer Press Limited, Bungay, Suffolk, in linotype Times style of printing. Okay? You may have heard of David Campbell and Albert Fay Hill, as they are more famously known for writing Invader, published in 1980 by Jove Publishings. So their book is called Invader, but they also wrote The Deadly Messiah, and it's fantastic. If the artwork doesn't pull you in, then the blurb most certainly will. I actually received this for my Christmas present from my daughters. They know their mother likes a pandemic novel. They know she likes horror. They know she likes mysterious events. Well, my goodness me, this book has it all. We will start with they are two brothers and their friends are going for a game of golf on a very unassuming Wednesday morning in June. Yes, I have got the right name, June. Yes, and it's in Bensonville, Kentucky. Dr. Jess Barrett, Dr. Bob Barrett, Dr. Ken Fisher and Dr. Bill Nyland all decide that they want to go and play a game of golf, as they always do on a Wednesday morning. It's their way of relaxing, and why not? Why not? Anyway, while they're there at the golf course, all hell breaks loose. The golf, let's just say he works in the sports shop that they have there at the golf course. And he comes running up and he says, it's a message I've got for Dr. Bill Nyland. Yeah, it's his wife Myrtle. She's been trying to get hold of you all morning, and there's an emergency in town. You've got to get back. You've got to get back. You've all got to get back. Oh my goodness me, the end of the world. Everybody's sick. Please come quickly. And they all look at each other and think, well, if Myrtle's trying to get hold of you, and then the lad that works at the counter in the sports shop goes, well, it's not just your wife, sir. Your doctors, your nurses have been trying to get hold of you, and they don't know what else to do. Everybody is turned up at hospital, and everybody's sick, and everybody is dying. So they take all the golf gear, they rush back to the station wagon, they load the back of the car up, and they rush back into town. And on the way, Dr. Bob Barrett, Jess's brother, he goes unconscious. He collapses in the back of the car because he's feeling sick as a dog when they put him in the car. But in the back of the car, on the way to town, he passes out and everything evacuates. I mean, what happens when your body goes unconscious sometimes? Yeah, your bodily fluids don't exactly stay in. They're more You know the saying, better out than in? Not on this occasion. Not on this occasion. Awful, awful. Anyway, they get into town, and poor Bob, as they're dragging him out of the car, covered in God knows what, he has a massive heart attack and he dies. And it's awful. Poor Jess is stood there looking at his brother. He runs off to try and get a Starty Hearty defibrillator pack. The Starty Hearty pack. He tries to get a Starty Hearty going on him, and there's no point. The guy is, he's off to join the choir invisible. That's it. Boom, boom. He's gone. Dead as a dodo. Oh God, I can honestly say this novel hits you like a cattle truck and keeps going. In fact, quite a lot of this novel has me saying things like, basically, rhyme a lot with the words cattle truck. Just put holy in front of it and then you'll get the drift. Yeah. I'm going to read you a little bit from the book right at the beginning. It just so happens to be one of the town's unfortunate victims, but when you know what he died of, it'll make your skin crawl. Probably crawl off your body and hide under the bed, but there we are. John Helfer had seemed to have recovered from his cancer of the prostate, but when Ken Fisher treated him that morning, or rather when he tried to treat him, he was suffering from an advanced case of metastatic cancer. Both he and Ted Farney died within an hour after being brought into the hospital. That was quite nasty, but this one really, ugh. It was the boy with the acne who made Fisher finally realise that they had to have help. He was 13 years old and the son of George Hinton, vice president of the furniture factory. Dick Hinton had a horror of acne because of his father's scarred face. When the inevitable teenage pimples began to appear, he became overwrought, almost paranoid, and spent hours inspecting himself in the mirror and washing his face with medicated soap. Whenever anyone looked at him for more than a second, Dick was sure they were staring at his slightly acned face. That morning, when his father broke through the crowd at the door and staggered into the emergency room with Dick in his arms, Fisher not only gasped, he almost screamed in horror. A thing that, as a physician, he had never come close to doing before. The child's features were a mass of pus and blood. His lips were like balloons, and even his ears bled. His face and body were saturated with bulbous, infectious acne. Ken looked at him. "Help me. For God's sakes, I've been trying to get to you ever since I woke up this morning and found him like this. Please do something." Fisher took the boy from his father and laid him on the table. Dick and his own son were best friends and spent hours together swimming in the pond at the golf club and searching among the cattails and the far banks for crawdads and frogs. So you can see that he's got a connection with this boy, and you can tell by the look on his face that he's repulsed to the point of feeling sick. And he unbuttoned the boy's jeans and pulled down his underwear. Even his lower body and upper legs were covered with hideous sores. He quickly gave the boy a shot of penicillin not because he thought it would do much good, but because he had to do something. Suddenly, Fisher threw back his head and gave a terrible, obscene cry. He pounded his fists on the wall and cursed at the top of his voice over the babble. Nylan heard it and came running. As you can understand, the poor child was one ginormous postulating sore, and there is no, he wasn't going to survive. The poor boy's body just exploded into one ginormous pool of pus and disintegrates. Not the most pleasant ways to die, and yet thousands upon thousands of people with normal diseases like chickenpox and measles, toothache, every tooth in your head disintegrates and rots out of your mouth while you are screaming in agony with the pus flowing forward. Oh yes, you can see why the words fail you. You're left holding your breath as you're reading the next most gruesome death and the next, and it just keeps going, and there's no stopping it. And they end up calling out for help, and it goes all the way up to the CDC in Virginia, and their head guy, Dr. Mandelbaum, he turns up with his crew, and a wonderful, wonderful man called Gus Gustafson, who is a very old doctor but has dealt with quite a lot of diseases and unexplained viral episodes. And if I was in this situation, that's the man I'd want. Just his brain alone is on fire, and the years of experience that he's got, he's just the most amazing doctor. I would say Dr. Mandelbaum is a bit of a pompous prick, but you will get to like him as the novel goes on. What we need to know is, why is this happening and what's causing it, and that what turns to who's causing it brings me to my next section, which I'm going to read for you. And it's very, very, very quick. Dr. Jess Barrett sees a ambulance do a U-turn and rushes after it on the road, and he swears and goes after him. When he became abreast of the ambulance, he gave a wrench of his wheel on the station wagon he was driving, forcing the ambulance to the side of the road. He jumped out of his car, Dr. Jess Barrett, and basically, I'll start reading from this point. He jumped out and jerked open the driver's door. They were just within the border of Stover's Wood. "You coward! Aim this back to Bensonville or I'll wring your neck." The small driver stared at him with a curious expression, neither terror nor disgust, but some emotion that Jess could not read. "Leave me alone," said the ambulance driver. "I'm not going back there. The whole town is dying," he said levelly. With one huge hand, Jess grabbed the little man, pulled him halfway out, slapped him so hard. "I'm going to slap you so hard, my lad. I'm going to slap you back to the Stone Age." That's kind of what Jess did. "I'm going to smack you so hard." Anyway, he shoved him back into the driver's seat of the ambulance and he said, "Drive to the hospital. You're not going to run out on all those people." The young man shrank away, but his eyes flamed with cunning. Suddenly he flung open the opposite door, rolled out and ran away. He fled across an open space and into a clump of trees, where a light reflected briefly from something, a discarded piece of metal or glass, making Jess blink. When the boughs failed back into place and the fellow was gone, Jess was sorry he'd hit him. The man must have gone mad with the grisly horror of the dead and dying multitudes. I want you to remember this point. It's absolutely pivotal to the whole of the story. This ambulance driver will come up again in the form of maybe who we're looking for. It starts at this point to not just become a medical thriller, it's now in the realms of horror. And then we're going to go one further and we're going to go to the realms of the astrology. The deaths were predicted in the stars. Oh yes, I kid you not, we are going to meet the Mad Max of Mystic Meg. Oh yes, I bring you Vera Norman, astrologer to the stars. Quite literally, this woman is amazing. She's just the most amazing woman I've ever found in a book. Yeah, she contacts the CDC and the gentleman that the President of the United States has been, the President sent his most trusted aide. Now, I wrote down his name for you. His name is Dr. Micah Maruyama, and his nickname is Super Jap. And you'll get to see why, because this guy's brain works on a completely different level to how any other person I've ever met in life thinks. He's almost a savant. Is that good? He upsets an awful lot of people, does Dr. Micah Maruyama. We'll call him Mike because I struggle with his Japanese name. Anyway, Dr. What shall I say? Dr. Mandelbaum, the head of CDC, who thinks everything is scientific, and this talk of astrologers and finding the monster through astrology it's hocus pocus, it's bunkum, it's absolutely the most ridiculous thing he's ever heard of in his entire life, and he cannot believe that the President's aide, Mike, Super Jap, is falling for what he calls a load of hot crap, right? The problem is with Dr. Mandelbaum, his mind is closed off. He's a man of science and a man of fact, and he just cannot do mysticism. And as I say, that's where the astrologer Vera Norman comes in, and she basically says where the next town is going to be hit, the next city is going to be hit, and she explains how it's going to be hit, and everyone's like, well, how on earth would you know that unless you're in on it? And she goes, but I'm not, but what I will do is I'll help you track the guy down, and I'll help you find him, right? I will help you find this lunatic that's doing this, because he has to be stopped. As the blurb on the back says, only one thing is certain: when the full moon exactly squares Saturn and Mars in rising opposition to Uranus, 80 million people are going to die. That's the entire eastern seaboard of the United States of America. 80 million people. I mean, okay, we are going back in time, and we're going back to 1976, 48 years ago. Think it's massively changed since then. But yeah, they chase this dude all over the United States. Eventually, they track him down to New York, and and honestly say the trip it take in here to go back to the 70s New York, it's like a time capsule. It really makes you feel as though you're actually there, experiencing New York in the 70s, and it's just beautifully done. It really is. It's this, the way they described it, you honestly feel as though you're there, which is always a good thing with a book, because it helps you to get into the mindset of what's going on, and in the mindset of the killer. And remember, think back to the ambulance driver back in Bensonville, right at the beginning, the one that Jess Barrett slapped back to the Stone Age. Right, this is why it's going to be important, because the bloke that they're chasing, it's him. He was there when the town was dying, right? He was there, and we get to find out who this person is. Yeah, he's off his absolute trolley. You know what this could be the captain of the Fruit Loop Brigade. He's off his nut. He's absolutely mental. And I'm struggling to pronounce his name, because yes, it is it's an Israeli name. It's Jephthah Smith. Jephthah. Please help me. I can't pronounce it. I looked up the meaning of this anyway, and it means it was the judge of Israel who sacrificed his daughter in fulfillment of a vow. Right? Just looked it up. Collins English Dictionary. That's the definition that he gave me. Anyway, this Jep that astrologer Vera Norman is after, is described as she's done a natal chart for him, and she said this is his characteristics, this is what he's done. We're not sure how he's been able to kill all these people, but he's your killer, and he seems to have some kind of electronic device that renders our immune system null and void, so that normal diseases turn into killer diseases. The boy with the spots and the victim with the rotten teeth. If that don't give you nightmares, man, I don't know what will. Yeah, I mean, I have a fear of the dentist, and now I'm absolutely bloody petrified. I'm going to read you a little bit near the end of the book about Jephthah. I can't pronounce his name. Anyway, forget that. He believes he is the consort, the new Adam, the avenging Messiah. She says, Vera, the Messiah? And Jep replies, I am the Messiah of the Aquarian age. This time the Christ comes not in compassion, but in wrath. He caught her by the wrist. She was aware of his fingers, trembling with nervous elation. First my father sent the Piscean Christ, gentle and self-sacrificing, and decreed that man should have an age, 2,000 years, in which to learn to walk the earth in love. But they failed to heed his teachings. Now my Father has sent me, the Aquarian Christ, to destroy humanity as in the days of Noah. This time, though, he won't leave the establishing of a new race to the drunken fool like Noah. I shall be the new man of the Aquarian age. And yeah, if that doesn't say, wow, you're a fully paid up member of the Fruit Loop Society, I don't know what will. The guy is off his rocker. I have never in my life ever come across a book like this, and I doubt I will ever find one like it again. It's so unique. It's bizarre. You start off with a town in Bensonville, Kentucky, dying of simple, normal diseases. We try to find out if there's a virus that's broke loose that nobody knows about. Have the Russians attacked us? The Chinese attacked us? Have we attacked ourselves by accident? It can happen. Then we move on to, well, if it's not a deadly disease and we can't find out what it is, then surely something else must be doing it. Cue the strange device that Jephthah Smith has. And astrology thrown in by Mad Max Vera Norman. You have got yourself the most unique novel known to mankind. We're talking about, basically this guy thinks he's the Antichrist and he's been sent to cleanse the world of all of us, apart from a few which he wishes to have to worship him and do various other things with. I know there's a lot of spoilers in this book, but I would say it's an impossible book to not give it spoilers on, but what I have left out is quite a bit. And yeah, I'd like you to take the time to hunt yourself down a copy. I don't think it's in print anymore. However, there are copies available on Abe Books. This was actually found on Amazon. Sometimes you can find rare gems on Amazon. It doesn't happen all the time, but now and again they do turn up. It won't be cheap. The older these books get, the rarer they get, and especially to get something in, and it is in reasonable condition considering it's nearly 50 years old, you know, but it is beautiful. And if like I say, if the cover doesn't drag you in, then the blurb will, and hopefully my description of it. If you like medically minded books, you'll love it. If you like horror, you'll love it. If you love the end of the world, you're gonna love it. If you like serial crazed deadly messiahs, you'll love it, especially those that are captain of the Fruit Loop team and his deadly device that he uses to try and wipe us all out. Will he be successful in killing us? It's left. Read the book and find out. I do recommend it, I really do. I would give it 10 out of 10. For its uniqueness, you're never going to find another book quite like it. I was racking my brain to think of another writer that would be similar, and the only one I could come up with was Michael Crichton. and the Andromeda strain. And yet that is nothing quite like this. This is so unique. I've never ever found a book like it, and I don't think I'll ever find another one like it ever again. That is why it's so special. Apart from the fact that my daughter's bought it for me. So girls, from your mother, thank you very much. It was the most beautiful Christmas present, the most unusual Christmas present, but you know your mother and you know that she loves things like this. How are you going to top this for Christmas this year? I have no idea. But thank you, my darlings. Your mother loves you, and she loves the fact that you know her so well that you gave her The Deadly Messiah. Yes, please read it. You will absolutely adore it. And that concludes my review. I will always end the same way. Happy readings, darlings, and enjoy. And if you like what I do, give me a thumbs up and press the subscribe button. And the next level I'm bringing to you is The End We Start From, which is completely different to this, but I can honestly say, what a page turner, what a fantastic novel, and you will never ever find anything like it out there ever again. Take care.